Queen Velyra of the Solarian Empire surveyed the crowd at her own wedding with the practiced grace of a monarch who had faced 1,000 battles. Her people cheered, her advisors whispered, and the grand hall gleamed with alien artistry. Yet, her gaze lingered on one figure standing calmly beside her, Thomas Hale, the human she had married just days ago. To everyone in the Empire, he was a simple man. A human diplomat, chosen as a political gesture to strengthen interstellar relations. He lacked the physical prowess of Solarian warriors, the psychic abilities of their scholars, and the commanding aura of their generals. In short, he seemed ordinary, almost painfully so. Velyra had been skeptical from the start. She'd agreed to the union out of duty, but the thought of spending her life with a human, an average, fragile human, felt absurd. She had been raised on stories of humanity's weaknesses, their fleeting lifespans, their physical limitations. And yet, as she looked at Thomas, standing quietly and composed amidst alien grandeur, she felt something she couldn't name. "Just follow protocol," she murmured to herself, straightening her crown. "He is only human." Middle, a hidden strength revealed. The honeymoon phase, however brief it may have been, began in the floating palace above Scylla Prime. Thomas did not flaunt his intelligence or knowledge. He quietly learned the palace routines, the customs, the language nuances. To Velyra, he seemed simple, polite, attentive, and surprisingly adaptable. It wasn't until the Empire was threatened that Thomas's true nature began to shine. Reports came that a rogue fleet from the neighboring Dravian Dominion was approaching, intent on raiding Scylla Prime and taking advantage of the Queen's supposed distraction. Panic rippled through the court. Advisors scrambled, generals bickered, and Velyra's usual confidence faltered. Thomas approached her quietly. "May I speak?" he asked, his voice calm. Velyra raised an eyebrow. "Go ahead. You are human after all. What can you suggest?" Her words were sharp, but not unkind. "I've been studying your fleet's movement patterns," Thomas said, pointing to the holographic display. "Their formation is predictable. If we concentrate defense in the outer quadrants and use the gravitational currents to our advantage, we can neutralize their advance without losing half our ships." The council erupted in disbelief. "He is a human. He cannot possibly understand Solarian warfare," one general shouted. Yet Thomas's plan was flawless. Using his insight, the fleet executed maneuvers no Solarian strategist had considered. He coordinated human ingenuity with alien technology, turning a seemingly doomed defense into a triumphant stand. The rogue fleet was repelled with minimal losses. Velyra watched from the palace balcony as her people cheered. She felt a surge of something unfamiliar, pride, perhaps, or awe. Thomas had not only saved lives, he had altered the outcome of an entire battle. The human within. In the quiet after the conflict, Velyra confronted Thomas in her private chambers. You are more than I expected. I thought humans were fragile, weak, inconsequential. Yet you," her words faltered. Thomas smiled softly. "We have our limitations, Your Majesty. But we also have persistence, creativity, and the will to protect those we care about. That is what makes us strong." Velyra looked at him, truly looked, for the first time without the armor of skepticism. This human, whom she had thought ordinary, had demonstrated qualities she admired in any ruler or warrior: courage, intelligence, and the ability to inspire others. "You make it difficult for me to doubt your kind," she admitted. "And I suppose," Thomas said with a grin, "I am not as simple as I seem." A crisis of trust. Days later, a diplomatic mission to the neighboring Dominion nearly went awry. Velyra had been warned that treachery awaited them, yet she trusted Thomas to accompany her. Midway through the negotiations, an ambush erupted. Alien assassins swarmed the hall, intending to capture or kill the queen. While the Solarian guards fought valiantly, it was Thomas who acted decisively. He guided Velyra to safety, improvising barricades and coordinating the guards with precision. At one point, he faced an elite assassin alone, deflecting lethal strikes with nothing but a Solarian ceremonial blade he had picked up moments earlier. Velyra watched, heart pounding, as Thomas, human, fragile, supposedly simple, moved with uncanny skill, intuition, and courage. Her doubts shattered completely. After the battle, she approached him. How did you do that?" Thomas shrugged. "I observed, I learned, and I acted. That is all humans do. We survive. We protect. We adapt." Her eyes softened. "I underestimated you, underestimated your people. And I was wrong." Ending a union forged in respect and strength. In the weeks that followed, Velyra began to see Thomas not as a simple human, but as a partner, equal in every way that mattered. His strategies were adopted in the Royal Council, his insights valued by generals and advisors alike, and his courage became a story that inspired both humans and Solarian citizens. On the anniversary of their wedding, the Queen stood before the assembled court once again, not as a ruler with doubts, but as a sovereign who had learned the true worth of humanity. "Today, I honor my husband," she announced, her voice echoing across the hall. Not for his title, not for his position, but for his strength, his wisdom, and his courage. Let it be known across the stars, humans are not merely simple beings. They are resilient, inventive, and capable of changing the course of history. Thomas knelt briefly before her, a gesture of respect, not submission. "And I honor you, Velyra, not just as my queen, but as my equal, my partner, and my inspiration." The crowd erupted in cheers, yet it was a private moment between them that carried the most weight. Velyra finally understood that strength was not measured in size, species, or psychic power. It was measured in courage, ingenuity, and the willingness to act when it mattered most. She reached for his hand, holding it firmly. "You've taught me more than I could have imagined. And you've taught me," Thomas said softly, "that even in a galaxy filled with wonders and terrors, the heart can still find what matters most." For Velyra, the lesson was clear. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was extraordinary. And the simple human she had married was living proof of that truth. From that day forward, the Queen and the human warrior ruled not only by blood or law, but by mutual respect, courage, and the unshakable bond that had formed in the crucible of war, diplomacy, and discovery. The galaxy watched as their legend grew, a tale of love, strength, and the undeniable power of humanity. Even an empire that thought itself invincible had learned that the smallest spark could ignite the fiercest flame. And that flame, Thomas Hale, would forever change the course of history.